Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet SkyFF, the world where everything revolves around £50,000. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
It is Wednesday. We're kind of in the middle of a match week. We had a bit of football yesterday. Well, in certain games, one team played football. And
be so harsh on Norwich, honestly.
Oh. To be honest, both games yesterday. I thought it was weird when games kick off at different times. But I quite like channel hopping a little bit. And to be honest, it helped me yesterday. Mrs. went out, so I had the evenings to myself. I like dipping into games in 15-minute patches. And then when half-time comes, you just switch to the other game. You don't have to sit around and do the washing up or whatever you have to do. But yeah, we're in the middle of a week.
Yeah, I haven't decided yet, Suj, but I might take one for the team and watch Burnley versus Watford tonight.
Well, let's be honest. You do have a certain amount of interest in that game, don't you? Two strikers.
True, in FPL.
In FPL, let's be honest. But
I've got a goalkeeper now as well.
And Lowton? Well, Lowton's gone in. He went on.
No, got a backman.
So
I've got
your
backup goalkeeper for De Gea, isn't he?
Cool, Burnley.
Thanks, love you too.
It's that famous scene from the In-Betweeners movie, isn't it? Have you ever seen the In-Betweeners movie where they go on that lads' holiday? To Ibiza or wherever.
Yeah.
And they're on the bus and the guys start chanting at the back of the bus Burnley songs, and then he's like, I like football, but not Burnley. They can fuck off. Yeah, good luck to Burnley to try and screw over James's FPL team. We're talking about Sky Fantasy Football today, though, not FPL. And I'm on 107 points so far, which is bad.
What's your game week rank with that?
That's a very good question. I don't know, but here's the interesting 39k. Not bad. Relative to the score, though, if you think about it, if I'd said to you, because this is an interesting question that I want to ask you now.
Yeah.
107 points, which is not great. No rank change. So you've had a storming week. What are you up to? 170, 180 points, maybe?
177.
Okay. Rank change?
Yeah, halved. Yeah, I'm up to
so 2k to 1k.
100 and something.
Okay. So, and game week rank?
Oh, well, that's a whole different matter, isn't it? It's 184th in terms of game week rank. It was obviously, as few might say, it was first on Saturday night.
Yeah.
But I've had two big captain misses. Well, I say two big, one and a half big captaincy misses since.
So I suppose my overriding point is that there's not the rank change that I thought there would be overall based on the game week. I feel like there's a mixture of some people have done amazingly well, but there's plenty of people that have hit and miss with the postponements and then not taken transfers. And obviously, a lot of people would have had Tottenham assets on the Sunday, might have moved off in got to do something. But then you've got the United postponement yesterday. And I made two transfers, but they were the transfers that I was planning to move people on for anyway. St. Maximin finally gone.
Yay!
In comes Conor Gallagher finally for the 22 points against.
Did you captain him?
Southampton. I did not. You?
No, that's the point.
Okay. And I saw Harry Kane, and I decided I wanted to get Antonio on Sunday. And so I got Antonio, but again, he blanked. So that was disappointing. And then yesterday, I suppose with the late news, well, it wasn't late, but I didn't really know where I wanted to go. And now that the postponed fixtures are piling up, the more that they pile up, the more opportunity there's going to be later in the season for 2-for-1s, 3-for-1s. And the clubs that have fixtures that are piling up, Chelsea have got 3 now, right? With the Club World Cup, in my understanding. I'm trying to remember.
No,
Chelsea definitely got 2.
Chelsea 2.
You've got 2, haven't you?
We've got 2. Brighton 2. Man United 1.
And then one other team.
Yeah,
Burnley,
Arsenal
Burnley.
Against Chelsea
Burnley.
And Brentford against Man United. So can't
So
forget them too.
There's like Chelsea, Tottenham, and there's good opportunity in there for potential 2-for-1s, 3-for-1s further down the line when there is these postponements. And of course, most people will probably agree that we're not done yet with this postponement situation. So I ended up yesterday making the decision to do nothing.
I think that was the right call. Like, I mean, last night I've obviously had Cancelo suspended, no De Gea, no Ronaldo. Was looking in a really strong position, obviously, for last night. And I know a few were looking at 3-for-0s on Sunday, i.e. if United were going to potentially lose both games. At the moment, the Brighton game possibly hinges more on what the situation is with Brighton rather than the situation with Man United, because as we've kind of uncovered, the situation at Brighton's actually a bit worse than the situation at Man United, ironically.
Yep.
Brighton haven't yet asked for a postponement of the game against Wolves tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if that game actually still went unexpectedly tonight. It's worth saying. But I think the sensible idea on, say, Ronaldo and not really having the info is, bottom line is, if you've got him, you probably want to captain him this Saturday at home to a Brighton team that's going to be fairly makeshift at the moment with no Dunk, although there's a possibility Webster might return.
But Sanchez is one of the rumoured players, the goalkeeper, with COVID.
I think that Sanchez is okay, is the information that I've got.
Right.
And that Luke Steele is the one that might not be. That's the information that I have.
And you see, I mean, different game FPL, but a lot of people were jumping on Luke Steele as a backup goalkeeper because of I suppose
that's when people dive into the psychology of shit and they get down the rabbit holes, mate.
I think we need to caveat, we're not investigative journalists and we have no idea what actually is the truth. There's just rumours galore.
No, I can tell you that I spent a lot of my lunchtime yesterday trying to be an investigative journalist.
Any joy?
Yes. If the information is correct, yes.
The Athletic, are you watching? I
thought your phone went off. I thought you was going to say the Athletic have confirmed Brighton versus Wolves is off tonight.
I just put it on silent. I was like, the Athletic, are you watching?
I think,
James, the investigative journalist.
I think the sensible idea with Ronaldo was to wait, knowing that you've got Liverpool and Chelsea on Thursday. And, you could go from Ronaldo to Trent, for example. There's so many things you could do. You could go almost anywhere. So the sensible idea was not to panic and go, I must go to a Man City player tonight. It's the same kind of game. If you go to a Liverpool player on Thursday, as it would have been for a Man City player last night, basically. So I think waiting was the right decision. I think I'd be kicking myself at the moment if I'd sold De Gea or Ronaldo, because at the moment, my assumption would be that the game will go ahead. Obviously, also last night, we've had Dean Smith come out and say he doesn't know what the COVID protocols are, whether Norwich could have asked for a postponement or not. He thinks that they've got loads of players that are basically not asymptomatic, just symptomatic. I think that's the right term. So
asymptomatic means you don't have any symptoms.
Symptomatic does?
Yeah. So you've got symptoms. Symptomatic is you've got symptoms.
Okay. What
asymptomatic, they've got COVID, but they're not showing any signs of illness. But if they're testing every day, which they are, then they'd come up positive on a test.
So he's saying they've got loads of players who are showing symptoms, but haven't kind of shown up as positive yet. And he's concerned that could obviously throw the game on Saturday in doubt with West Ham. Now, ironically, obviously, if United and West Ham both get postponed on Saturday, what are we all left with captaincy? Oh, well, it's Conor Gallagher again.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be Conor Gallagher for the majority of us tonight. So I decided not to captain Gallagher on Sunday. I'd had a good start to the week. I had 2 Brentford players Friday. It's worth saying I've made 3 transfers, right? So I should have had a good week anyway. But I'd obviously landed on Friday night with Fernandes in goal, who might be another one that's got the bug, just saying. And Mbumo, who'd obviously been sitting there for ages, decided to captain Mbumo. And for a change, I got this decision right, although somewhat fortuitously, with obviously the penalty at the end also meaning he hit shots here as well for a nice 20-pointer. Saturday, every player returned for me. And the couple of differentials I had, like De Gea, 15 points, Laporte, 10 points, they were scoring really well. I held on to Rafinha, who got a good return at Chelsea. Everybody I had that wasn't like super highly owned did really well for me, hence why I was having a good game week. But I'd obviously moved on Mbumo and Fernandes for De Gea, and who else did I buy, Suj, on a Saturday? I bought David Silva. Which obviously hasn't worked.
David Silva left Man City quite a while ago, mate.
Oh, fuck me. Bernardo Silva. To be honest, it might as well have been Bernardo Silva last night, right? Wouldn't have made a lot of difference, particularly. And Gabriel was the other one who I'd obviously got previous Monday, 13-pointer as well. Done really well. I captained Salah on Saturday, like I'm sure many would have done. Fine, absolutely flying. On Sunday, I had the regular listeners will know, Sunday, December the 12th, West Ham. And I'd always had my eyes on Jared Bowen. The big mistake I made was buying David Silva on Saturday and believing that Bernardo Silva. Jesus Christ. We just call this podcast David, shall we? Not even David, just call it David. St. David of Bernard. What a state. I didn't need to buy David Silva. It wasn't part of the plan.
Lucky
thought, you know what? Bernardo Silva. Yeah, that guy. I thought he's just in amazing form. I'm on a roll here. Let me go for it. So I went and got him in. Obviously, nothing particularly at the weekend. Okay, fine. Sunday, I still bought Bowen. And I shouldn't have bought Silva. I should have just waited for Bowen on Sunday. Fine. Left that. Of course, buying Bowen, which was always the strategic plan. Bearing in mind, I'd sold Kane on the Monday fixture of Everton Arsenal. The plan was obviously to get Bowen, captain Bowen, away to Burnley. But I didn't fancy him that much. But I just wanted to take Gallagher on. I took Gallagher on with Rafinha a few weeks ago and it worked. And I wanted to take him on again. And obviously it didn't work.
This is not the game for that, is it?
Well, to be honest, the difference between doing really well in this game and actually having a real chance of winning this game is getting that decision right. Is the when to take on and getting that decision right.
Yeah, and you won't get them all right. If you get half of them right, you're going to be top 100.
And we obviously speak about Paul McNulty's strategy quite a lot in terms of he will regularly want to obviously captain the person that he thinks will be captain the most to kind of minimize the risk, and then later on in the season, then try and look at taking people on near the end, which is an absolutely good and fine strategy. It's probably what I should do as well in all honesty. I took him on. It didn't work. I went with Silva again last night instead of Laporte. Didn't work. So I've slipped a little bit. But if you'd said to me on Friday afternoon, James, you're going to half your rank, I'd obviously be
exactly that. I was going to bring it all back round to net. You've got to kind of sometimes you have to stop looking at the minute individual pieces of the jigsaw and look at the bigger picture. And halving your rank in a week is no difficult thing, because think about it, for how long have you been floating in and around the same sort of rank, trying to make headway? Weeks and weeks and weeks.
For weeks, I'm saying to you, I don't even know if I've got a green or a red arrow this week, basically. It seems to be just in the same place all the time. So to be on the fringe of the top 1,000 is obviously better. I at least feel like, okay, I've jumped out of that pack. Let's at some point try and get into the next pack. But I'll be captaining Gallagher tonight. And obviously, if West Ham and Man United are off on Saturday, Gallagher goes to Watford. He's getting captained again. It's incredible.
No problem at all. Exactly that. And that's a nice segue into just the upcoming captaincy for this week. Gallagher tonight for me as well. I do have I have Antonio or Ben White as options as well, but I think I'm going to. It's crazy not to go with Conor Gallagher against Southampton. And I don't even need to ask you about tomorrow. No Salah, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the next.
Although we will see the team.
This night tonight was always one that we looked at and went, it's a bit of an awkward one, really is a little bit of an awkward one. And I kind of before the weekend was kind of thinking I might go with Gabriel again. I sold Marcus Alonso, by the way, as the player I sold for Bowen on Sunday. Because I just felt he's not doing anything for me in terms of tiers and stuff. If the attacking returns aren't there, it becomes a waste. I know he's great value, but I got money in the bank anyway, so I didn't need it. He was sacrificial for me. Well, I thought with all the postponements potentially happening now, it might be better for me to have a player from a different team suddenly. So, but no, I'm definitely going to go with Gallagher. For those who listen to our FPL shows, I spoke on Monday about the issue with Southampton and that I highly fancy Gallagher to actually return again tonight anyway. So definitely going Gallagher tonight. The only backup I got tomorrow is Rudiger.
Yeah, me too.
He's the only one.
Same other one. Unless you decide that you're happy to make a transfer. And we might have news by tomorrow that Brighton United's off, and then you might want to go from Ronaldo to Trent and give yourself another option, that kind of thing.
Exactly that, possibly. I mean,
but if Salah doesn't play tomorrow, like, I will be crying because and it's a completely FPL situation. Like we talked about how great it is Cancelo being out means my Kyle Walker pick's a perfect opportunity for a vice captaincy. We don't even know where he is. Having another bunga party.
Vice captaincy on Kyle Walker.
So we talked about it on the show, right? You said it's a sensible strategy. Pick someone from today, and Kyle Walker's the one I went with. And suddenly, where is he?
I went with Ollie Watkins.
Listen, I saw. You'll be happy with.
Imagine this has made a great podcast on Friday if Salah don't play, mate, because you'd have no captain. I'd have it landed on Ollie Watkins and get Jacob Ramsey off the bench as well, mate. For 22 points.
That'd be pretty interesting.
I haven't given too much thought into what I would do in the unlikely event that Salah and Rudiger were both benched. I must say, I think there's next to no chance of Rudiger being benched. So I'm not overly worried about it.
The main reason I think Salah's going to get benched, though, is because the official FPL account tweeted how he's never blanked against Newcastle at home or something ever when he's played them. So tweets that precede unfortunate events, that's one of them.
It reminds me of a case I had in January with Liverpool and Burnley. And Salah was benched that night. And I think that was a Thursday night as well. And I panicked and bought Joel Matip. Who ended up getting nothing. He was on for like passing TR and clean sheet, and then suddenly the passes stopped. They conceded. Then he got booked for a deliberate handball, and Salah came off the bench anyway, and it was exactly the same. And actually, there'd be a case to say, in the unlikely event that both players were benched, considering they're playing Newcastle, half hour of Mo Salah, I might even just leave the armband on him with the COVID situation and stuff, and just say, yeah, do you know what? I'd leave it.
Yeah, I mean, they've had 4 days. I'm sure he's likely to play because he didn't play previously midweek. So,
to be honest, I don't really think there's a doubt about it. I'm fairly certain that he will play.
Well, yeah, I mean, when City were banging in the goals yesterday, I was most grateful for that because if Klopp and Liverpool were watching that, they know that they've got no room for dropping points and that kind of thing. They'll want to get the job done. So makes me a little bit more sure. What about this weekend? I mean, we've talked about Ronaldo on Saturday is the standout. He's who I'd like to captain. If not possible, then yeah, I'll be defaulting Conor Gallagher away at Palace is okay as well. Antonio at home to Norwich over Conor Gallagher would be my preference, but we shall see.
Yeah, Saturday I think I would go Bowen over Gallagher if the United game was off. So yeah, order of preference for me would be Ronaldo, Bowen, and then Gallagher. I think at home to Norwich, I'd want a bit of Jared Bowen if that's available. They are unfortunately the worst team in this league. I know like Watford and Newcastle might concede a shitload of goals and stuff as well. Norwich are capable of getting taken apart in any game. And I think the small little hire they've had with the change of manager, Dean Smith, that's gone out like a damp squib last night. I watched the majority of that game. So yeah, it would be Ronaldo, Bowen, Gallagher in that order for me at the weekend. And Rafinha is part of the conversation as well as a fourth option at home to Arsenal.
Sunday, I mean, the standout fixture is clearly City at Newcastle, who are in disarray. Most of us have got defensive assets. Do you think you're happy with Bernardo Silva again, or will you go David Silva this time?
I'll go David Silva. No, Sunday, I haven't decided yet.
I mean, this awkward, stupid Everton Leicester 12 o'clock kickoff means we don't see the bloody team.
Well, that's Newcastle the idiots putting the game on the Monday night in the first place when it was always unlikely to actually be allowed to play on the Monday night. So yeah, Everton Leicester's the 12 o'clock, so no team lineup of Man City, Liverpool. But I think that's Cancelo Sunday rather than Salah, I think.
Well. Yeah.
So having been suspended last night, particularly as well, your mate Kyle Walker. I mean, is he injured now, or I don't really know?
We don't know. I mean, it's different. It's the same for all managers, but it is irritating. You know, when you get no information and suddenly curveballs come out, you're like, you could have shared a bit of information in a presser or something. But this is why, well, we've talked about it on previous pods. Presses are becoming almost pointless media exercises, aren't they, a little bit?
Well, it doesn't help in certain circumstances. You get, I mean, Arsenal's press conference yesterday became literally all about Aubameyang. Like there was nothing on team news, nothing. It was just purely about Aubameyang, which I understand it went down that direction, but I want someone to say any new injuries, mate, or nothing. There was nothing that came out about it. So if Arsenal have got issues, I mean, obviously for Sky, it doesn't matter. You'll see the team tonight, but yeah,
if Arsenal have got issues.
Well, Arsenal have a big issue facing them tonight, and it's called Mikel Antonio hasn't scored a goal for about 4 months, other than one against Tottenham and one against Leeds. Terrific. Thanks, mate. Before we move on to cues and stuff, couple of quick notes. There are a few teams I think you can target tonight. One is Watford.
So just to be clear, target buying their assets or target players playing against them?
To buy.
Okay.
If you are worried about that Watford Norwich fixture on Friday the 21st, which is a single game day, and it would clearly be, if you wanted a captaincy that night, a Watford player. Obviously, the two boys up front are quite interesting in Josh King and Emmanuel Dennis. So can you have a look at his ownership in the top 1,000?
Did you say Friday the 21st?
Of January,
which is quite a way away.
It is, but their fixtures are Burnley, Palace, Wolves, West Ham, Tottenham, Newcastle, Norwich. Now, prior to the Friday night game, there were only 2 entry points for Watford with gains. One is tonight. The other one is on Saturday the 15th, the week before, when they travel to Newcastle. And the only way you're getting a gain, basically, is if you sell Conor Gallagher or a Brighton player. But the fact that Gallagher's only remaining game prior to overhaul would be Liverpool at home, I think that's the player that you'd probably end up winning. But then, of course, if you're selling Gallagher, you need to land at that point with 4 in midfield, right? Because you're only buying probably Josh King because of the threat of Emmanuel Dennis going to the African Nations Cup. Nigeria have sacked their manager. We now think Dennis is probably going to go to the AFCON. So Dennis is a decent buy in this game because of his 5.5, Suj?
5.5 million.
What's the ownership top 1,000?
Have a guess. Let's play the game.
3%. Right. 3%.
Top 1,000.
Yeah.
28.9%.
Is he really? I'm surprised it's that high.
28.9%, mate.
The problem is it's so difficult to get away. Although I'll tell you what, Jacob Ramsey.
But he's such a good enabler at 5.5.
Well, that's it. And to be honest, if we could all go back again, we'd have all bought him at overhaul, right? And just left him sit there and spent more on defensively and not worry about Webster and stuff and just have Trent or Van Dijk or whomever instead. Yeah, if we could all have the time back. He's obviously a danger. If you're thinking about the Norwich game, though, I don't think he's going to be available now. I think he's going to go to AFCON, which would make Josh King the buy. Now, Josh King's a relatively decent price as well, Suj. I want to say
7.6.
And he's got 10% ownership in the top 1,000 as well. A lot on Dennis might just migrate to King nearer the time. Now, personally, I'm not going to go rushing for this Watford Friday night game, and I'm happy to leave it. My strategy with Josh King has been kind of maintained that when I walk into an injury, I will look at entering Watford then to find the gain over a player I know is going to miss a couple of weeks or something, because I'm bound to get one. So every time I get an injury, I said this last week, I'll have a look at Josh King because the entry points aren't good. On that Friday night game, it is ages away. It also might not stay a Friday, which is worth remembering. So if either Watford or Norwich draw in the FA Cup third round, then there's a possibility that it will get moved back to the Saturday, Sunday. It could still stay the Friday because the previous Saturday, both Watford and Norwich played a Saturday, and the two respective FA Cup opponents, Leicester and Charlton, also played a Saturday. So in theory, they could play Saturday, Tuesday, Friday. Anyway, that's ages away. Southampton, if you have any interest for whatever reason, their entry point over the Christmas period is probably tonight, but I don't see that. And obviously, same with West Ham. If you're deciding you want Antonio or Bowen desperately for this weekend, unless there's postponements, you should really be going in tonight for the Arsenal game first.
Makes sense.
February TV fixtures. We've got the first 2 game weeks released.
Yeah.
And there's nothing major to come out of it other than a couple of points. No Monday night game on Valentine's Day, Monday the 14th, which I'm disappointed about, to be honest. I might have to talk to her. But it means we've got a midweek set of fixtures, 8th, 9th, 10th. Yeah. We've got weekend fixtures, 12th, 13th. There are no major issues coming out from that.
Yeah.
So just take you briefly through those.
I mean,
fixtures.
like for the midweek, United, City, and Liverpool spread over 3 days.
Exactly that.
Exactly.
Tuesday the 8th.
Thank you very much.
Tuesday the 8th, you've got West Ham v Watford or United at Burnley. Wednesday the 9th, you've got City against Brentford or Tottenham at home to Southampton, or even Gallagher at Norwich or Rafinha at Aston Villa. Thursday the 10th, you've got Liverpool at home to Leicester, so there's a spread. Saturday the 12th, you've got United at home to Southampton or City away to Norwich. Sunday the 13th, you've got Liverpool at Burnley, Tottenham at home to Wolves, but it would obviously be Liverpool at Burnley. And you'd get to see the team lineup for Liverpool at Burnley as well on that Sunday. So there are no issues from that first week. And I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Because I think there's always the danger that when there's a Monday night game straight after overhaul and it's, say, Watford v Norwich, everyone's going to go with one. And everyone's going to go with the same one. And it just makes it dull. So if we can have a couple of weeks with no single game days, what I hope that means is we get a better spread of different players over an overhaul period, which is good for the game. Like last year, it was like get as many Man City players as you could, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. The only frustration, it's not a frustration, but is that we know that no one's going to come out of overhaul with any Chelsea players because they don't play in either of those 2 sets of fixtures because of the World Club Conference Cup League,
but
sponsored by Lidl or whatever it is.
But I think it's highly likely. So Chelsea's Club World Cup semi-final is on Wednesday the 9th. The final is on Saturday the 12th. The midweek after is Champions League last 16 first legs, but Chelsea don't play that midweek. I think it's highly likely they will. They will either play Arsenal at home or Brighton away. So although they're not going to play in that first 2, they are then, I think, going to walk into a single game day straight afterwards. So you have a decision to make. Do you go someone else for 2 games, then move to Chelsea, or do you just start on it? Now, it's obviously something we can come back and look at once confirmed and nearer the time. But it's something to be aware of, that Chelsea could have a couple of those. I think it's most likely that Chelsea's 2 postponed games for the Club World Cup, Brighton and Arsenal, at least one of them is going to go into one of them Champions League weeks. I'm fairly certain. But I don't expect any announcement on that probably till the new year. And in terms of postponed games, just as a general, I know there's been a lot of speculation that United and Brighton could get moved to next midweek if it's postponed, because neither are in the Carabao Cup. I find that highly unlikely. That would be really unfair on fans when, with those 2 teams actually out of the Carabao Cup, there is no rush to rearrange the game. Something will probably drop in January as a single game day. Something. But I don't think there's mass rush to... The priority will be Chelsea, right? If Chelsea beat Brentford in the Carabao Cup quarterfinal next week, the priority is to try and get Chelsea games fitted in. And should Chelsea beat Brentford, which you would expect them to do so, then I think it becomes more and more likely Chelsea's rearranged games will go on those Champions League 3 midweeks for them. There is no panic to rearrange Tottenham, which at the moment looks like it's going to be on at Leicester tomorrow night as things stand. The Burnley and Brighton away games, there's no rush to get them done. Ironically, Brighton, should the game against United go and the game tonight go, would suddenly be 4 games behind in theory, because the future game against Chelsea is postponed as well. And then in that case, there's definitely a Brighton game dropping as a single game day in January, I would imagine.
So interesting. I've just seen it pops up on Twitter because I've got the Twitter questions in front of me, James. Man City scored their 500th Premier League goal under Guardiola and 7-0 win. I mean, that's phenomenal. But I heard on the weekend as well that the Liverpool win meant 500 Premier League points for Klopp in 6 seasons or something like that. He's picked up 500 Premier League points. That's incredible as a manager. To just come in and achieve that. We're witnessing some amazing football and some amazing teams right now.
This is where someone says, amazing what you can do with money. I mean, I didn't say that. I just heard someone say it in my ear. The director just said it in my ear. So
Yeah, well, it's also amazing how you can fuck it up with money. So I think it works both ways. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I get it. If you really want to look at it and be like that, but
Good
also
afternoon
sometimes,
to all our Everton fans.
sometimes as a neutral, you just want to see good football, and they are delivering with the tools that they have. A handful of questions are coming on Twitter, James. Shall we do it?
Yeah, let's
Let's
do that.
do them then.
Yeah, I suppose we do.
I've had a quick cheeky look at a couple of them, and the first one comes in from Javo. I hope you're doing well, mate. What is the worst game week score you've seen for a SkyFF asset? He screenshotted our friend Lorente from last night, who scored -5.
Huh.
Have you seen worse than that?
Bednarek last year.
Own goal, sent off.
No, he got. I don't think I got sent off and they lost 9-0, right?
What was that? -7 or something?
-8 or -9, I think.
Wow. Okay.
One or the other. I can't remember.
Go. Bednarek from last year. Difficult. We have a question in from Jay SkyFF, who just says KDB ? And we know what he is.
He was
right?
fantastic last night.
The thing with KDB all season, and even it is just he hasn't looked fit for a long time. Like, he hasn't looked like he's had the energy levels for a long time. And obviously he did get COVID earlier in the season, was out for a little while. And COVID's not an easy thing, I think, for players to come back from because of the respiratory and breathing and what have you. Yesterday, for the first time in a long time that I've seen him play, he looked fit more than anything else.
Well, you say Guardiola gave nothing away in his press conference, but in his press conference on Monday, he said he's fit now.
Yeah,
that's exactly what he said. So, yeah, look, he obviously had a bout of COVID. I think the way they've been playing with, KDB would not be my thoughts to buy at the moment.
No,
purely because
he's not. But
I think with the fixtures, they're not going to overly kind of push him too hard. Bernardo might have a niggle following the game last night. That's exactly how Guardiola kind of described it. He's got a bit of a niggle, but we just took him off precautionary. And I imagine that's probably the truth. But what KDB doesn't do that Bernardo and Gundogan do is hit the penalty box. So you see the goal that De Bruyne scored last night in the first half.
What KDB does do is put it in the top corner from
and of course. But what I'm saying is, in terms of the importance of how they're playing, you have to remember no one else plays like Leeds. So movement and players who can carry and run with the ball was really important last night. Whereas when they're playing against low block teams like Wolves and stuff, he wants Bernardo and Gundogan in the box. KDB won't go into the box. You never see the ball go into the wide area or the touchline and KDB standing in the 6-yard box. No, he doesn't do it. He's not. He physically will not do it. So I think there's a little bit in terms of it was really the right selection last night. I don't think KDB is locked to be playing every game. And of course, now you're coming into a really hectic period with Man City, and basically their whole squad's back fit. So there's going to be changes and stuff. At the moment, I don't think that money would be justifiable for KDB. But if you have it excess, then by all means have a look at it. Yeah,
he's a watch and wait for me.
You can obviously
he's never going to be far from your radar if he hits some rhythm. But
you can obviously get a gain on it on Sunday. With the Newcastle fixture, you're gaining off the majority of teams.
Yeah. Dragon SkyFF, best replacement for Andros Townsend, 10 million available, but cannot be a defender, only a midfielder or a striker. Bit difficult to answer, my friend, because we don't know who you already have, because we're going to throw out names like Conor Gallagher and co, but we'd assume that you already have some of the more highly owned.
I want to say players. Bowen tonight, but
so say it.
I'm very conscious about the situation at Norwich now. Would be bothering me. Now, of course, that could then suddenly land as a West Ham Norwich single game day in January, and then great, you've got your asset and stuff. But that's probably the play. Or, honestly, if you've got two up front, have a look at Josh King.
Yeah. McFlurry Oreos. Which Tottenham and West Ham players from the Premier League era would make the best Sky assets now? So historical players. Who did you have previously? I saw this question. I've got an answer already for you, James, from our squad anyway. You could be your Tottenham player. Kevin Nolan. He was a 12, 15 goal. He was our top goal scorer for a few years.
We'll give you that.
He's a kind of all-round, a bit of this, bit of that. I'm never gonna pull out a world beater, 300 points a season guy. But Kevin Nolan loved the tackle. He was box to box, so you might pick up the odd passing and shots here. And he scored. He was our top goal scorer a few years in the Premier League. So I'd go with Kevin Nolan.
To be honest, I could just name the whole Tottenham 16-17 team. Dan Cox would tell you that's the year. I'm sure that's the year Dan Cox won the game. He'd tell you how many of that Tottenham team were worth good assets.
Dan, if you're listening, whack it in Twitter, please, mate.
I'm sure probably like.
There was that breakout season with like Dele Alli was probably a lot of those guys would have been cheap back then as well. Because
at various points in that season, the defensive guys, Vertonghen and Alderweireld would have hit Parsons here quite a bit, I should imagine. Goalkeeper Loris would have been decent. You had Walker and Rose bombing down the wings, playing well at the time. And then the front four of like Ericsson, Son, Dele and Kane all firing. So, the majority of that 16-17 Tottenham team.
FPL Hambone. If we find out that United missed Brighton 2, is it worth switching Ronaldo to someone like Kane or Son? Probably not Son in case of rumours of COVID. And also if Tottenham squad is decimated, then it's a risk. Or Antonio or Trent. Or just hold on to preserve those precious transfers for these mad times.
My instinct is on Ronaldo specifically, he's probably hold the transfers. And I would maybe hold De Gea as well. Because I'd look at it and go, I know I'm going to need some cover for Ronaldo for them single game days. And De Gea offers me that. As that Bruno, I'm going colder and colder on the idea the closer it gets. It just doesn't look like an asset at the moment. And it might be that I end up punting it while Salah goes to the AFCON anyway. But I've already, that means I can look somewhere else from Mo Salah, right? With that money, I could go De Bruyne for a little bit, for example, when Salah disappears, rather than, I need to go to Fernandes with the money because I've got De Gea sitting there. And I think with the fixtures they've got, that's absolutely fine. I think that the value of goalkeepers in this game is really underestimated anyway. And I think I've got the one that might score the most points between now and overhaul. So I don't really want to move that. If you take Ronaldo, though, you're almost definitely going to want him back on Sunday, the 27th of December. I think that's the Newcastle game that night, isn't it, Suj?
Mm-hmm.
It's the only game that day. We've got another single game day coming up afterwards as well. So it's Newcastle on the 27th. I say single game day. Everton Newcastle is the other fixture on Thursday the 30th, but it might as well be a single game day. And then they've got Wolves on Monday the 3rd of January as well. If you come off Ronaldo now, let's say the game is postponed. Let's say you want to go to, let's say Trent, for example. Let's say you want to go to Trent for the 3 games. So you've got Newcastle at home, Tottenham away, Leeds at home. Now, there's a fair chance you're not going to captain him because it'd be difficult to go against Mo Salah. But let's say Salah got a rest in one of them games and we knew it, and you captain Trent. Does Trent get 30 points?
Possibly.
Yeah, but it's like, even that, we're saying a possible effective 4-0 on someone like Trent, and we're saying there's no guarantee that it'd hit them points.
Well, there's no guarantee with anyone. But
no, of course
4-0 for me on Trent to get 30 points, I would take that gamble personally.
7.5 a game. I mean, you'd need the captaincy one, but we're only saying if Salah's. So let's say Salah's not left out, right? You're probably not going to go against him with that at the moment. So let's say it's 3 straight games: Newcastle at home, Leeds at home, Tottenham away. Newcastle at home, you look at it and go, that's 10 points. Any attacking return could be more. So let's say that's 15 points. Tottenham away, it's definite passing.
A passing tier, yes, but I don't know about attacking returns. I feel like Conte's going to do an Italian job and try and really shut up shop against Liverpool.
All right, let's call it a 5-pointer for argument's sake. Let's say 20 points.
15.
And let's say Leeds at home.
That's 15, 10 and 5, right?
Yeah. I'm assuming there's an attacking return against Newcastle as well. So let's call it 20.
Yeah.
For just to average it out.
Yeah.
And then Leeds, and you need another 10 against Leeds. That he can do it, of course he can. But my point, that is what I'd want from like the 2 transfers over this period. I'd want 30. I'm not convinced how many players I see I'd have confidence in to get 30 points for that 3-0. when I know it's a player 100% I'd want back. Now, the flip of that is if you're chaining it to something else. So if you're going Trent now, and it means you're bidding a player that you know you don't want, that increases the want to obviously make that transfer, and then it becomes more of an argument. But if it's just a literal on and then back off for exactly the same player, I'm not sure there's anybody that I don't already have that I'd think, yeah, okay, I want to do that. Like if I didn't have Mo Salah, I'd say, yeah, fine, go Ronaldo to Salah 3-for-0. Of course, it's going to be effective 6-for-0 probably. But I'm not convinced there's many others like that. And most of these players will already be owned.
Last question of the show, James, goes to Luke, who says he moved off Ronaldo to Watkins last night and captained him. I don't even know why you're asking us questions, mate. If you're doing moves like that, you're clearly on the money.
To be honest, that's what I decided. If the City game was postponed, I was going to buy Watkins last night. I wasn't going to let it go.
Me too, as well. But
I wasn't going to let it go. I would have bought
him. Luke says, do you think now it's best holding Watkins until the 27th of December, then moving back to Ronaldo? Because obviously Watkins now plays Leeds, Brentford and Everton. Or on the 27th, move from Salah to Ronaldo? It's a very specific question.
Truthfully, yeah.
Salah to Ronaldo.
Yeah, I think it's
keep Watkins for 3 and move Salah to Ronaldo.
It's a personal opinion. Tuesday the 28th to go to Leicester. If Salah has played against Leeds on the 26th, and considering it's Leeds, you need to work your dogs off, and it's Chelsea the week after. If Salah hasn't had a break and we get to that Leicester fixture on the 28th, I think in spite of the fact, you go, oh, Leicester away, difficult fixture, that's the one who'll leave him out, I think. I'd be nervous about captaining Salah on Tuesday the 28th if he's played 90 minutes against Leeds 2 days earlier. So there is definitely the case to say that. What you want to be really in that case with Ronaldo, if you've already come off, for example, yes, that's the point to go back. You have to forget Saturday now. There are other options. West Ham players, Gallagher. There are players you can take him on with. Monday the 27th, you're going to want it back. Now, what you need to do is get there and be able to make the choice. Is to leave the money and then, right, okay, I can go from Watkins to Ronaldo. I can go from Salah to Ronaldo and then make the choice there. That's the best way to do it, is probably not cramp yourself up in a position where financially it can only be Salah to Ronaldo. That's kind of the trick with that. So then you can make the decision when you get there. And there's a case to say, yeah, sell Salah. I mean, my strategy plan at the moment is to sell Salah.
Yeah.
But with the 2 Man United players there, it might be that what I'd rather do instead is look at going, I'll keep him the 28th and then add an extra City player, perhaps like Kevin De Bruyne, on Wednesday the 29th when they play away to Brentford, and I'll get to see the team. I might look at it that way. So at the moment, I can't see an interest in the likes of Sancho or Bruno Fernandes or Harry Maguire. Might be that Varane, if he's back fit, would maybe interest me. But otherwise, I'm probably more likely personally to wait to Wednesday the 29th.
And that, James, wraps up the Twitter questions. Listeners, thank you so much for submitted this week in the middle of a mental week. We'll be back at you tomorrow. What do we have tomorrow? I'm losing track of all of the stuff that we do.
Actually, the correspondence, which has not been recorded yet.
That makes a change.
I'm actually recording it in the morning, so it's going to be quick turnaround. Is Wolves versus Chelsea, which is on Sunday. Bradley Parker and Ted Moore.
Ted and Brad, yes, indeed. And on Friday will be a full midweek game review on FPL. We'll be running down all of the games and performances and what we can pick apart, including a look at where we're up to with the latest in terms of COVID. If you need more content from us at Planet FPL, then head over to patreon.com/Planet FPL. The Patreon numbers are growing very steadily. Amazing Slack community with hundreds of fantasy sports managers talking about all their different teams, loads of different formats of the games, prize leagues, and more. A whole heap of fun if you do fancy it. This month, even at the basic tier, you get all of the additional content that we put out, which is a podcast each and every day. Today's Tottenham, before Tottenham and West Ham play their midweek games. But we will be reviewing and looking at the weekend. Other than that, anything else to add, James?
No, just good luck this week, everyone.
Yeah, most importantly, there is. Look, there is.
You need a dramatic ending for the podcast. You can just say goodbye.
I've noticed it here, there, and everywhere. No. I'm just saying there's a lot of COVID flying around. So just hope that everybody's staying safe and looking after themselves. And from me and David Silver, ciao for now.
And from Bernardo, cue music, please, man child.